Okay, today we're playing a game on Lijiang Tower. We're in the Platinum SR range, and we will be playing Hammond the entire way through. And our current team composition is extremely bad. It's Roadhog, Hammond, Soldier 76, Sombra, Genji, and Baguette. Yeah, we're on the console today, by the way. So let's just start the game. You know, I don't think you have to try too hard to imagine a better composition than that one. More depressing news. I'm sorry to report everybody, but Genji's using the skin. Oh, God. It's just so unapologetically ugly. I've seen people using the Tracer skin, because the Tracer skin's, like, okay, right? Like, it's ridiculous, but it's okay. Genji's, however... It'd be okay if it wasn't for the face. The face ruins it because he's just got this giant fucking dopey grin on him. Anyway. So, if I'm to be honest with you, I wouldn't consider myself to be an expert in Hammond. But they say the best way to learn how to do something is teach somebody else. Which... I feel like there's a great many things that's not actually true about. If I was perhaps interested in picking up surgery, for example, I should teach somebody else how to do it. I don't know. I don't know about that one. So, anyway, we're back here. Very behind the enemy team right now, given that our team is, like, mostly flankers and Roadhog. So why not, I suppose. So, the reports that I've gotten from the people who are decent at Hammond... is that you're meant to play him basically the same as Winston, except he's kind of just a worse version of Winston. We certainly have done a lot of rotating around the arena, but I don't feel like we actually really did much of anything at any point during that. So let's go. I'm just like... Okay, so we come back here, we harass Moira a little bit, then we div up on that one. Okay. Probably could have just kept going on the Moira, especially since other people are helping us bully her, but you know. Mercy's right next to us. Right here, right there. There's Mercy. She's a better target than Zarya, so we should be shooting at her instead of Zarya. Harder to shoot than Zarya, certainly, but, you know, killing Mercy is pretty important. So we could have bullied Moira, we could have bullied Mercy. We chose to bully neither of those people. We just kind of gave up on the Moira, and the Mercy I'm not sure we noticed. But they were, you know, but the main healers are typically pretty good bullying targets, particularly for dive-centric heroes, such as the boy. That's what I'm going to call Hammond from now on, by the way, so get used to that one. Mostly just so, because, like, there's a gif I'm mostly thinking about, which is this armadillo that just... rolls out in a very smooth motion, and the caption attached to it was, "Deploy the boy." And that's just what I think about when I see Hammond. I'll try and remember to put the GIF there. I won't. Just so you know. Just type into Google, "Deploy the boy," and you'll see two things. You'll see the armadillo, and you'll see a render of a platypus inflate rapidly. This is going to be a really good video. I can tell already. It's going to be a really good video. So we are... Once again, we could be bullying Mercy, but we've elected to shoot at McCree, whom Mercy is tethered to. It is difficult to kill someone through Mercy's healing. And also, Mercy is just a higher priority target than McCree. Granted, most of our team was dead at the time, so we don't even really want to be there at that point. So an issue that I feel like one of the main issues we're having right now is that our only healer is Bridget. Well, hold on to your pants. You ready for this one? I fucking hope your house is earthquake-proof because I'm about to rock your fucking world. Our main healer is Bridget. Our off healer is Soldier 76. Yeah. That's the point we're at right now. What a time to be alive. So, we're now playing Hammond. Give him the good old rotato. We have the minefield. Unfortunately, Hammond's ultimate is extremely bad Countered by just sort of not going into the area they're in immediately, or leaving the area that he puts them in immediately. And that's kind of it. Then it doesn't really do very much, does it? So we're over here, we're going to drop him right there, right on top of Zarya, who's already past them, basically. Look, we just talked about how this ultimate is pretty bad, but this is not exactly great placement, because everybody's, Zarya's going to get past them, these two people are already past them, the remaining people who are going to come through the door behind, they're not even going to be remotely inconvenienced by them, because, I mean, for one thing, they could just break them if they absolutely had to, but there's another doorway that they're not blocking. So that minefield's gonna do nothing over there, except maybe bait people into sitting and breaking it, rather than coming over and fighting over the objective. So the voice is in German. And McCree sounds really weird in German when he's using Deadeye. Whoa, Zarya was very high-pitched? Zarya is way too high-pitched. Whatever. Anyway, you can't even hear it. So, a lot of our team just kind of got killed around us by ultimates, and there wasn't really a lot we could do to stop that one, as Hammond. Yeah. But, you know, we didn't put our ultimate in a good place. We gotta find something to talk about, right? We gotta at least pretend we're learning something. So the ult wasn't put down in a very good place, because it's basically, like, the best use of minefield, usually. Is that even what it's called? It has to be called, like, minefield, right? Deployable mines, I think, might be the actual name? Whatever. The bad ultimate. It's best used as, like, a combo. So, like, Earth Shatter, drop all the mines on the stunned people. Graviton, drop some mines in the Graviton, you know? Is it the greatest combo in the world? No. Because, you know, Dragon Strike and Barrage exist. But it usually gets the most work done. Well, that's the most you're going to get out of the ultimate anyway. But we don't have anything really to combo it with, unless you count, like, putting the mines down and then Roadhog pushing them into the mines with his ultimate. So basically we want to use it for zoning, but we didn't put them in a particularly good place for zoning because everyone was already past them or could just walk around them. Hold on, let me adjust my hairline. There we go. It's not a wig, I just have very elastic skin. McCree's using his ultimate again out there somewhere, so that's kind of spooky. It's like, let's be real, okay? Like, were we ever gonna win this round? Extremely unlikely, given that our main healer was Bridget and our off healer was Soldier 76. Amazingly enough, we've actually gotten up to 70%. That's 70% more than we deserve to get. Do we win this round? I don't remember. I watched this video yesterday and I remember exactly 0 of what I saw. Perhaps because it was just extremely depressing. And, you know, repressed memories and all that. It's not like they've got to try very hard to take the objective from us. Oh, that's not a good start for them. This isn't a good start for us, though, either. Here we go. Here we go. Like, all they really need to do is sit back and hang back for a while and poke at us, and we'll die because we don't have any sustain, because our healers are extremely bad healers. I was going to say our healers are extremely bad. That kind of that kind of implies the wrong thing, because that implies we have healers. Which, you know, so we're playing Hammond right now, you know, give him the good spin. We did have our shield up, and granted, you have to stop spinning, you have to stop doing the loops to use the shield, but we don't have any healers, and right here, this is like 200, 300 shield we could have gotten. Well, yeah, like 300, because it's 100 base right there. And, you know, we ain't getting healed. I realize I'm covering the indicator for how many people are in range of the shield, but, like, that's like one of I get why it's there, but it's like one of the most useless UI elements I've ever seen in my life, because the shield's, like, range is extremely short. I don't feel like you need to do, like, I feel like Hammond is an underwhelming hero, the exact opposite of what I was trying to say. That's so depressing we won that round. Hammond's a very underwhelming hero, but I don't feel like you really need to do a lot to make him more consistently useful. Great. Awesome. I don't feel like you need to do a lot to make him more consistently useful. Buff the range on the shield. Like the hitting, getting the other people with, get it, because it's stronger based on how many enemies are in the area. The area is like woefully too small. Just increase it by like 3 meters. And make his mind's arm like half a second faster. It doesn't need to be a lot. And I feel like at that point, he's probably good. I don't feel like he needs a lot. The main issue I see with Hammond is that his ultimate is fucking terrible. Like, it's up there with, like, one of the worst ultimates. It's a joke. It needs to be just a little bit better. Just... Because the mines do a lot of damage. The thing is, the enemy team needs to be extremely stupid to actually die to the mines. They just arm a little bit faster, that's it. Because that's the exact same problem D.Va's ultimate had once upon a time. Well, the other part was that it killed D.Va. Hammond doesn't have that issue, obviously. But they just decreased the explosion time by 1 second. Might not have even been 1 second, might have been less than 1 second. And then suddenly, bam, it wasn't hands down the worst ultimate in the game anymore. That's it. Kind of makes me think about one of those flies that just goes into those zappers. We're the fly, though, and Far was the zapper, which is usually the opposite of how you'd expect it to go. So, Sombra's used her Emp. A lot of the team were dead, but Tracer managed to kill a few people. So, great, because D.Va's out of mech. She's basically dead. We've almost got our ultimate built up. We can just, like, drop the ultimate on the objective, and then, well, what are the, you know, touch it if you dare. I honestly find that one of, oh, this is a terrible place. This is an awful place to put the mines. This was very upsetting. This whole... I hope you weren't hoping to learn too terribly much about Hammond today. So, Pile Driver is actually really good. So, I find that... I've played a fair bit of Hammond. I find that he builds ult charge quite quickly because his abilities are very easy to land. Or his damaging abilities are very easy to land. So what I find is usually the most effective thing to do is Hammond. And, you know, I'm bad, so take this for what you will. But what I found to be most effective is, like, you go in, you empty your clip, you then do a rotation, you do a rotato, like what we're doing right now. You do a pile drive on the enemy team. Your guns have reloaded by that point. You pop out, you empty a clip, and then you just rinse and repeat, because the your abilities are usually off cooldown again by the time you've finished using the 1 clip of ammo, and then when you do like a rotation of abilities, your gun has reloaded while you were inside the orb, or very close to. You might have to hang out in the orb for like half a second longer. But I have found that is usually the most efficient, and his abilities are extremely easy to land because he himself is a big old ball. And then you get to use your ult more frequently. And is his ultimate extremely good? No, it's not particularly good, but he can charge it quite quickly, I've found. And, you know, Moira's ultimate isn't exactly incredible, but it charges very quickly, which means she gets to use her only okay ultimate quite a few times, and then because she's gotten to use that more, it becomes a better ultimate just because of the amount of times she got to use it. And you know, he's an aggressive boy. Most common consensus I've heard is try to play, like, look at this shit. Yeah, now we're playing Hammond, baby. The consensus opinion I've seen is just, like, try to play him as much like Winston as possible. The thing is just that you have to choose your opportunity to do so more, because Winston, as long as you've got your bubble or primal rage, and or both, you know, then you can just jump in, basically. As long as you aren't jumping into 6 people, you can just jump in whenever, and you don't have to worry about it too much, because the bubble will protect you until your jump is off cooldown, and then, you know, you do guerrilla warfare. Hammond doesn't have the luxury of having the bubble to protect him. He has a very strong barrier, certainly, but you have to pick your time to go in. And, you know, you're trying to bully the backline, as always, as everybody is trying to do, really. Hammond can fight tanks, but he's much better at bullying squishies, so you sort of pick your opportunity to dive in, you pile drive on the squishy, shoot at them while they're in the air and therefore can't move around properly, empty clip, do more abilities, pop out, empty clip, do more abilities, probably retreat for healing, because Hammond is quite a soft boy. The boy is not exactly the sturdiest tank in the game, despite having a potentially 700 health shield, which is insane sounding, until you realize that the Zenyatta has put Discord on you, and then they chew through your health extremely quickly. Like, Hammond is the most fragile tank I've ever played. Of all the tanks, he is the one I feel least survivable on. He is hands down the most mobile tank, but he's the squishiest tank also. And this is the principal issue that I have with Hammond, is that what he does, other heroes fundamentally do better than him. Like, he's just, if you're trying to play him like Winston, he's just a worse Winston at the end of the day. He's got, like, higher kill presence than Winston. He's potentially more disruptive than Winston. But if the enemy team have any hero that counters Hammond, Hammond doesn't get to have any fun at all. And there are a lot of heroes that counter Hammond. If they have a Bridget, get fucked. If they have a May, get fucked. If they have a McCree, get fucked. If they have a Reaper, get fucked. If they have a Roadhog, get fucked. I don't know if I said Roadhog or not. Who else fucks Hammond? Quite a lot of people fuck. If they have another Hammond, kind of get fucked. If they have, you don't even really have to try to counter pick Hammond. If they have a Sombra, get ultra mega fucked. You don't even really have to try to counterpick Hammond, because you'll probably do so accidentally. Like, there are a lot of heroes that counter Hammond, and they're all popular, right? They have an Anna, get fucked. A lot of currently popular heroes counter Hammond. The way I see it is that Hammond is most effective against a static comp or a deathball comp, because what Hammond does have going for him is a lot of displacement abilities, right? And I mean, he technically only actually has 2 displacement abilities, but the hook is sort of constantly there. Like, it's only got a 4-second cooldown, and he himself can keep rotating infinitely on the hook, as long as he doesn't, you know, get crowd controlled. So, like, what he does have going for him is he has a lot of displacement ability. So if the enemy team is playing a team that wants to, if they have a Bastion, get fucked. If they have a team that wants to stay relatively close together, or is, like, very immobile, then that's where Hammond is, like, most effective. Because he spreads them out very easily, jumps in, pile drive, they're all up in the air, start rotating, bash them all away from each other, put the minefield on top of where they are, and then they have to spread out and away from each other. Maybe you catch 1 or 2 in the minefield, that kind of thing. If there's ledges nearby, he's really... Lijiang Tower is actually one of Hammond's better maps, because there's a lot of ledges to use, and the geometry is very convenient for him. Like, this map particularly, he can get back to this objective mad fucking fast if you're brave, if you're a brave boy. Because when you come out of your spawn's over here, you can hook around this building and land directly on the objective. It literally only takes him like 3 seconds to get back to the objective. So, you know, he's got mobility and he's got displacement going for him. The thing is that those two things are not particularly helpful, really, because D.Va and Winston also have mobility, and displacement's cool and all, but if they have a Pharah, get fucked, usually. Not so much as the other ones, because Pharah, like, can't really kill you, because you're a little bit too sturdy. Pharah's not great at killing tanks, but, like, you're not going to do anything to the Pharah, really. He's okay at fighting other tanks as well, so he's got that going for him, but, like, again, there are just heroes that do that better. So this is my problem, is that I find Hammond's niche is not very well defined, because it's just generally, like, disruption / displacement, but he's not as good as the other tanks that are about disruption, because, like, Winston is great, and, like, if he's got Primal Rage, he's gonna be just as disruptive and displacey as Hammond is, if not more, because once you take Hammond off of his hook, he's a lot easier to deal with, whereas Winston is still big and in Primal Rage, right? So, like, I find his niche is poorly defined, and he just isn't very good at it, and his niche is not particularly helpful right now, because so many of the heroes that he would be good against are not really popular, or, like, teams are quite mobile by nature, or, like, they've got, or, you know, oh no. They're either very mobile, because, like, there's something like Pharah, Genji, and then at that point, one hardly needs to go on. At that point, Hammond is already having trouble killing people, because if they've got a Pharah, they probably also have a Mercy. He doesn't even really counter Anna, even though, like, she's theoretically one that he'd be good against, because he's so easy to trank, and once he's got the bio grenade on him, he's extremely easy to kill. And then, you know, there's other heroes on this. Like, he'd be most effective against, like, Soldier, but he also can't kill Soldier. This is basically just going to be a video about me complaining about why I don't like Hammond. And I mean, you know, some people have got it figured out. There are people out there who are doing well on Hammond, great for them. But he's the kind of hero that requires absolute mastery over to really get much of anything at all out of. Because just, like, if you're only mediocre at Hammond, you just get dunked on by so many heroes. He also, like, his ult's bad, he doesn't counter anyone. Lots of people counter him. Lots of the heroes that counter him are currently popular. People that were less popular but counter him have become more popular because people have been playing Hammond. So, like, I've seen a lot more McCree lately. McCree is also, in general, like, not bad against most people. Currently popular, but, like, Hammond's quite popular right now because he's new and he's a fun hero. So Hammond's quite popular, and McCree, like, wrecks him. He's trying to pile drive? Fuck that shit. He's trying to swing? Fuck that shit, right? And then McCree's also just, like, pretty good against a bunch of other popular heroes, like Pharah, the flankers in general. I had another point that I was going to go on to right there. And the other issue is just that, like, the other tanks are more broadly useful than Hammond is, right? It's like, Reinhardt Zarya is still a fantastic combo of tanks, right? Winston D.Va is still a great combo of tanks. Winston Zarya is still a great combo of tanks. And then you go, like, Hammond Zarya, it just isn't quite the same, is it? Like, Reinhardt Hammond, I've seen work the best out of, like, the possible tank combos. Just because you can't, it's like, if you got, like, kind of a deathball comp going forward, and then Hammond's over there, like, playing Hammond, that can be disruptive enough that it lets the rest of the deathball move in. But, like, you're still better off going Reinhardt Zarya and then a Tracer to do that, and to do Hammond's job instead. Like, that's still better. I've seen Hammond work in coordinated teams, like full or close to full teams are where I've seen Hammond get the most success. He's seen some use in the competitive scene and all that, in the Challenger series and all that, but like for just pugs and competitive ladder in general, Hammond is not very good. He requires too much skill to use. Like, he requires probably as much skill to play as, like, Sombra, and he has not as much payoff as Sombra either, because playing against a really good Sombra is extremely oppressive feeling. Even when I've been playing against a good Hammond, I haven't really been that bothered about Hammond. I've still just only felt like Hammond was okay, but like the rest of the team was what was really making it work. There's just, his niche isn't good, there are people that do his job better, blah blah blah, repeat myself again for like the 8,000th time. And, you know, I feel bad about it because, like, you know, I look at something like this, and I'm like, the best thing I can really say is, like, pick a different hero. Like, and, you know, I'm not an expert at Hammond, you know, I've seen people out there who've got, like, 70% win ratios in Hammond and shit like that. Great, good for them, fantastic. You figured it out, you're galaxy brain. But, like, for, like, a good 90% of the community, that's not feasible with the way that Hammond currently is. And, you know, part of it's the meta as well, certainly. But I think Hammond is, he requires too much skill to get much use out of. And I also feel like the payoff for being that skilled isn't high enough to justify it, because, like, Widowmaker requires a lot of skill to get anything out of, but the payoff for being very good at Widowmaker is, like, you hard carry games, right? The payoff for being really good at Hammond is still just that you're a worse Winston. So I feel like he needs some adjustments. I've got no issue with a hero being hard to play, right? Like I've said for a while, I've got no issue with Sombra because I think Sombra's fine. She's just extremely difficult to play. And I've got no issue with heroes being hard to play, but the payoff needs to be worth it. And the payoff for being really good at Hammond isn't worth it. You're better off being really good at almost any other hero in the game. So, like, if you're really good at Winston, you'll get a fuck ton more done than being really good at Hammond. And people might laugh at that and you're like, really good at Winston. No, you can be, like, really good at Winston, though. If you're really good at Winston, you dunk on people. If you're really good at Hammond, you annoy them. That's Hammond's main feature. He's annoying as fuck, and he's good at stalling. Which is a shame, because he's really fun, and I love his design, both in terms of mechanics and character design. I think he's fantastic. But he needs to be, like, slightly better. I don't think he needs to be a lot better. Same thing I thought with Doomfist. I feel like Hammond is, like, right at the edge of being well-balanced. He just needs, like, ever so slightly more. I really do think just, like, increase the shield range a little bit, only by, like, a few meters. And then like, make the mine's arm, like, 5 seconds fat. Maybe even, like, make the spread a little tighter. I'm not sure about that one. Like, just make the arm, like, half a second faster. Because this is the thing, there's, like, a very fine balance on the minefield, where if they armed too fast, they'd be ridiculously too strong. But currently, I think they arm too slow. Like, it's so easy to circumnavigate them. They also might need slightly more health. Because they're so easy to... Like, you don't even really have to try to clear the minefield, right? It just sort of happens ambiently. And so many things can just immediately clear it out, right? Like, if Because if, like, just, like, Reinhardt fire strikes at them, that just, like, cuts a line straight through the minefield, right? Just, like, swing, bang, mine's gone, no problem. So, like, make them arm slightly faster, maybe give them, like, a little bit more health. I do mean a little bit, like 20 more health, something like that. I don't think he needs much. I think he's, like, right at the edge of being really good. Or just, like, being viable for most people to pick, at least. And just a little bit more. Anyway, you know, I'm sorry I don't have anything more productive to say to you about Hammond. The thing that, like, stood out the most from the game was basically that we didn't use our minefield super well, because as I said, the best use for it is, like, comboing, but we didn't have a combo with it. So instead, the best use we've got is zoning, but we never really put it in a great position. We, like, on, like, the garden, we just put it, like, outside the objective all the time, and just walk around it, no big deal. In control center, they'd already gone past it, or could just take the other way around it if they hadn't gone past it, and they're usually going to go the other way regardless, so we didn't place the minefield super well, and we didn't prioritize enemies as well as we could have, mostly thinking about how the times we could have been bullying supports, and we didn't, basically. Like, that's the most productive thing I have to say about it, but this has mostly just been, like, half an hour of me complaining about Hammond, because I think he's bad. But, you know, I've seen a lot of people echo that sentiment, that he's not very good. Some maps he's good on, some comps he's good on. If you got, like, a coordinated team, you can get value out of Hammond, certainly, but it takes a lot of work. The payoff isn't very good. Is the moral of the story. So thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. Sorry I didn't have anything more productive to say about Hammond for you, but, I mean, in the email, I think you kind of got the impression where this was going to go, seeing as, you said, I know he isn't a viable pick because of his bugs and inconsistencies and joke of an ultimate. Yeah, true, also. Yeah, hope you found the video helpful. God damn.